Hello everyone, welcome back to Maverick Mods. Part 2 of the new shop build. Grab your popcorn, let's get started. Part 1 of the new shop build was clearing the forest, doing the dirt work, prepping the pad, and pouring the concrete. Part 2, I had hoped, was going to be getting the entire building up. Not quite there yet, so there will be a part 3 or a final chapter, but part 2 brought this building quite a ways. So let's jump in and just watch these guys work and put together, well, for lack of a better term, what amounts to a great big erector set. So here we go. Got a little bit of an intermission here while the crew is out picking up the siding. They should be back with a truckload of that here pretty quickly. So this is basically where we stand right now. The man door, the entry door, is going to be right here. 10 by 10 roll-up door, a little bit of gap between. 10 by 10 roll-up door, the rest of the building. I'm fairly certain they've got the structure, at least until the siding goes in, the structure is complete. You know, I mean, I'm kind of I'm a novice at how these things are constructed, but it looks pretty cool to me. The straps will stay in place until they get it. Until they get the siding in. Said they pre-measured and cut the insulation. That'll sandwich between the girders, studs, whatever you want to call them, and the siding. So, picture inside the shop, kind of before its outsides are on. It's time for the morning update. As we saw yesterday, they got the outsides on. So now it's not just insides, it's, well, some of the outsides. Right now I've got a convertible shop. And so today I'm assuming that the roof is going to go on. They're taking some of the straps down. I'm assuming the rest of them will stay up until the roof goes on. And after the roof, I'm thinking trim, doors, and we'll be pretty close. Well, guys, I blinked and they got this door in. So let's just take a quick look here. Here's the man door. Now, the crew is gone for the day. And you'll notice I still have it's a convertible and the top's down. The company I'm using actually makes all of the well, they don't pour the steel, obviously, but they make all the parts on site. This is not some factory down in who knows where all the parts get put on an 18-wheeler and it all shows up at once. These guys have their own facility where, for example, the siding, it shows up in a roll and they unroll that and it comes off the roll through a, technically, I guess you could call it an extruder, that puts the waves and whatever into the metal, cuts them to size, all that kind of stuff. They do that on site. So everything went fine, but the particular color I ordered for the roof panels didn't show up in time for them to run it through their machine and cut them to size so that they could put the roof on today. So the crew went home early. They're working on making up the panels this afternoon, I hope. If that's the case, then the guys will be back tomorrow, put the roof on, put the garage doors on, and the building basically will be complete at that point. Unfortunately, I'm going to try and get this video out before all of that happens. And if they don't get the panels made tonight, then it'll be Monday before they'll get the roof on. So, of course, you know me, I'm chomping at the bit. I want this shop done so I can start working on cars again. But this is kind of where we're at. So let's take a quick walk around at what they accomplished today. Well, these guys were quick. Of course, we saw them put the soffits up, and frankly, I went to go have a little bit of lunch, and by the time I came back out to set the camera up, they'd already had the corner trim done. We saw them cut the opening for the man door. They already had the trim for the garage doors up, and basically trim all the way around the side. If you look at it from the back corner here, of course, they've got all the trim done. It's basically, it looks done. Of course, it doesn't have a roof yet, but it looks pretty well done. And basically, at this point, I could even start doing a little bit of soil work along here to try and get some grass growing here, kind of make it look pretty. There's my pretty wife. So that's where we stand, and I'm going to wrap this video up for this week. Hopefully, I will see a roof tomorrow. If not, I'll see a roof by Monday, and then I'll have final inspection. Then I can do electric, build out of the shop. Like I said, work's not done yet, but it's closer. Certainly appreciate everybody tuning in every week, kind of following along on all of my adventures and trials and tribulations. Please like, share, subscribe, notify, blah, blah, blah. You guys know the drill. We'll see you next week. Everybody, have a great day.